hello, we're back, and this is Stephen King here on The Incongruent. I realize that I haven't been introducing myself for the past couple of episodes, so this will be the first time. If you don't recognize my voice by now, welcome. And I'm joined today on, I think this is episode 4, with a new voice. Who's my new voice today?
My name is Lavelle, and I am a former student of Professor Steve.
Oh, Lavelle. How long ago were you with us? When did you graduate?
So I graduate to everyone listening to this. I graduated in 2021. I studied advertising and PR at Middlesex, and I had the wonderful opportunity of being mentored by Steve for all 3 years of my undergrad. And he was also my dissertation supervisor, where we went into AI.
Normally I would roast you or attempt to, but with such a lovely comment like that, I couldn't do anything. Obviously, I'm amazing. Thank you very much, Lavelle. Tell me, who did we just speak to today?
So we had the wonderful opportunity of speaking to Mr. Chris Daigle. He is the founder of Chief AI Officer, and it's a very interesting conversation about AI and how he believes that AI is the future, his experience with consulting mid-market companies as well as senior executives.
Yeah, so he went from 2023 to today, give us his journey, and we talk a little bit about TikTok trainers at the end, and we talk about going into the Wild West, and the motor cars and stuff like this. We go all over the place, don't we?
Absolutely. I love how he uses real life examples and breaks down AI into the most simple of language, so that anyone listening to this will get a perfect understanding of the key message he's trying to communicate, not just to executives, but to everyone out there that has access to AI.
Yeah, it was a wonderful conversation. So I think we're ready to roll. Here we go.
Hi, I'm Lavelle, and welcome to a new episode of The Incongruent. And today we are welcoming Chris Daigle, the founder and CEO of Chief AI Officer, a firm that helps executive teams cut through AI hype and deploy real-world strategies that drive results. His flagship, Executive AI Immersion, has become a go-to for mid-market companies looking to boost productivity, reduce costs, and lead in the AI economy. Prior to Chief AI Officer, Chris spent over a decade advising and scaling tech companies across the US and Europe, with deep expertise in automation, operations, and go-to-market strategy. He has partnered with leaders across multiple industries to transform complex operations into efficient, scalable systems. So, welcome, Chris. And before we get into the technology, we would like to know about the man behind the plan. You've been an advisor and operator for over a decade. What pushed you to create Chief AI Officer as a dedicated practice?
First, Lavelle, thank you so much for the invitation to be here. I'm excited to share my perspective on AI with your audience. That's a great question. So it was during COVID, actually, or I guess the tail end of COVID, when I launched this business. But during COVID, I had been helping businesses do what I call growth architecture. I'd never been the person who had taken a company from 0 to 1. I was always the person who kind of came in once they had stalled out and then helped them, I guess, eliminate dysfunction that was holding them back from really hyper scaling. So when ChatGPT 3.5 came out in November of 2022, I immediately recognized it was going to be a huge opportunity, but I thought it was going to be an opportunity for someone else. Not technical, much more operational and business, I guess, parlance. I'd be considered an operator, right? So I was excited about it, but I didn't understand it. And early in 2023, somebody who wasn't very bright was showing me some stuff that they were doing with ChatGPT, and I instantly realized, hey, wait a minute, this is accessible for everybody. And it's not, there's no technical requirements for you to actually be able to use this well. And instantly my first thought was, this is something that I can do in my own practice of growth architecture development for companies. And then the very next thought was there's zero leverage in that. I need to teach people how to do this. I need to teach people a combination of both my perspectives on growing business with generative AI being an accelerant for the application and result cycle from that. Um, that led to about a 9-month build out of a curriculum. We brought in faculty from MIT, but not from the technical side, from their business school. We brought in MBAs and project management professionals because I wasn't interested in necessarily approaching AI from a technical conversation. I wanted the traditional operator or the traditional non technical business executive to be able to understand AI through their lens, a conversation that they were already familiar with. And we launched in 2024. In the first year, we certified about 400 chief AI officers and instantly recognized that we had something that was missing in the marketplace. So, for anybody listening who to this conversation right now who thinks that they might be interested in pursuing some sort of career or opportunities in AI, do it. There is high demand, there is low supply, and the market is very inefficient for introducing those two parties. People they tell me, "Oh, AI is like the Wild West." That's a saying we have here in the U.S. And the Wild West, if you think about it, if you've seen westerns, you know that you walk out of the saloon and there's people walking and there's buggies. No, it's not like that at all. It's much more like the frontier, where you look around and you don't see anybody. And if you do see somebody out there, you're like you want to collaborate, you want to work with them. So we're still at the frontier stages of the opportunities for AI. Companies are paying a premium for anybody who can come in and just help them kind of demystify, like, how do we use AI in our business? And it's not going to be the tech, the data scientist. It's not going to be the computer scientist. It's going to be somebody who is entrepreneurial, somebody who maybe has an interest in business or experience in business. And if they go and learn this stuff, they're able to be that translator for businesses. And that is you can bring tons of value by doing that to the companies, and in the process be highly compensated for it. So that's what I was doing that led me into the launch of chiefaiofficer.com.
I see that you've worked across tech, automation, and operations. So, what do you think is different about this AI shift compared to the past waves of technology adoption?
Man, like, it's accessible to anybody, right? I routinely encounter people who says, "Oh, my grandmother uses it more than I do," right? That's not typically the paradigm when there's a new technology that's released, right? However, I would suggest that the older generation actually has an advantage because
Mm-hmm.
to get really good at getting ideal output or results from Chat GPT or Gemini or Claude or whatever large language model you're using, it's important
Mm-hmm.
that you know how to craft the question, right? And that you have some context on, like, instead of saying, write me a marketing plan, if you've got a marketing background, write me a marketing plan that's targeting my ideal customer profile who is, this is their description. They're based in this country. This is their the more context you're able to give it, give the models, the large language models, the better the result will be faster. There won't be as much iteration required. And, people with 30, 40, 50 years of business experience, they possess an understanding of what context is necessary to get the right output. So I would even suggest that might be different. Secondly, the cost. Certainly, they all have free models or free versions. There's no question. But if you want the most powerful version of ChatGPT, at least in the US, it's $20 a month.
It's not
If
much.
you want, it's crazy,
Yeah.
right? Like, there's no impediment. Cost is no longer an impediment for individuals to be able to have access to the strongest versions of this technology. So I think those are two of the primary differences. And there's no real learning curve if you're able to have it's natural language input and output that you're getting. So there is no user guide necessary. There are no YouTube tutorials that you need. There's no class that you need to go and take for a semester or two to be able to be pretty good with this. But I will say that repetition is the mother of skill. The more that you use this, the more you'll have those aha moments where you're like, oh, next time I should tell it to do this. Oh, I should have asked for that. So that's all. That's the learning curve, just practicing. Pretty awesome.
There's so much to unpack there. You've said that AI won't replace you; someone using AI will.
Yep.
Uh, my experience is that there are tranches of resistance against AI
Yep.
where it's very clear for me when I was using it in my work, I was so empowered.
Yeah.
But trying to encourage others, it seemed to be they had rounded their wagons and everyone was shooting anyone with AI.
Yeah.
What's your experience? Is this resistance going to succeed, or is it going to be overcome? Or you must be facing
Well,
this in your consulting.
we do, and that topic for listeners not familiar with that's generally discussed as change management. How do I uh, diffuse any concern, anxiety, negative emotions associated with changes happening in the business? But I want to look at a historical precedent. When the automobile was invented, there were plenty of people that said, "Not interested. My horse is fine. It can get me to town almost as fast." But the ability to conduct commerce with an automobile as compared to a horse, the automobile allowed for a higher velocity of commercial cycles, let's say,
Yeah,
that just the horse wasn't available to do. And
yeah,
fast forward, there's still people that ride horse for recreation, but not many people are using horses, at least in the developed countries, are using it for um, their primary commercial mechanism. The same thing will happen here with AI. You can resist it, yes. However, I think what will happen is your economic viability will be constrained significantly. The number of careers that will be open to individuals. I don't care if you've been working in an industry for 20, 30 years. If you don't adopt this, the interest in your expertise, it's not going to be as valuable. Now, let me run you through a scenario real quick. Stanford University and Harvard and Boston Consulting Group, and this was in 2023, September of 2023. Technology has improved greatly since then. They did an experiment to see what was the impact, not of any fancy AI stuff, but simply Chat GPT on the impact of a knowledge worker's ability to produce.
yeah,
They ran a 12-week study with 18 points of measurement where they established kind of like at a baseline, they said, where's everybody performing at these 18 points? And at the end of those 12 weeks, they remeasured. They took half of that group, it was about 400 consultants. They said, hey guys, you're great at what you do, go do it. The other half, they said, before you go, let's give you about 10 minutes of instruction on Chat GPT. And that was it, basic instruction. At the end of those 12 weeks, across 18 points, all 18 points of measurement, no surprise, the AI enabled producers were performing much higher. They were producing 12% more, 25% faster, and at a 40% higher quality. Now, if you have any experience in maybe engineering, perhaps, you've heard this maxim: good, fast, cheap,
yeah,
pick
yeah,
two.
yeah.
Now, and for those of you that haven't heard it, essentially, I mean, if you want it good and fast, it's not going to be cheap. If you want it cheap and fast, it's probably not going to be good. That paradigm is no longer relevant, at least in knowledge work supported by AI, large language models, Chat GPT. So an individual who says, well, I've got 30 years of experience. I may not, but if I know how to use Chat GPT, I have access to the world's experts in that subject matter. I don't need 30 years of expertise. I can achieve 80, maybe even 90, maybe 95% of the knowledge that you possess, that you built over 30 years of your career. If I know how to work with the models, I can access almost all of that expertise in minutes. I don't need 30 years. And and that translates from whatever your expertise was, whatever any expertise that I might need in my role. I've got instant access to the world's experts. We teach a prompting framework to get that. But so it just doesn't make economic sense for companies to continue to hire unless they were to hire those people who weren't AI enabled at a suppressed rate. That's the only way it would make sense.
So let's just go on, because you talk about speed, and if it's fast and cheap, which is what this is, it won't be good. But we're saying it's almost good. But there are mistakes, there are hallucinations, and the models are improving, and they're working, and there is copyrighted information, and there's all these other complaints of bias. And when there are these widely reported mistakes that the AI makes, how do you address these concerns and address this risk when you're doing your consulting work?
So I think that was a lot more prevalent earlier in earlier models. Now, most of these models have reasoning or even advanced reasoning elements built into it. Now, what that means is that before the AI returns a result, it's now taught to double check and confirm the sources where it got that information. So it's not exclusively looking at the training data. It's actually going out to the web and finding, in some cases, a dozen different sources to confirm, is this the correct answer? So if you're using ChatGPT for ideation and things like that, maybe you don't need an advanced reasoning model. But if you're going to be preparing a legal brief or a business strategy, you do want to make sure that you're using one of the more advanced models. With ChatGPT 5, you can go in there and it would be the thinking or the pro version. So that's one way that they've mitigated that. But secondly, there's a couple of frameworks, and we used to call it something else, but I met an AI expert, Chris Tam, shout out for this. Chris did a presentation at an event I was at recently, and he called it him and her. Him stands for human in the middle. Now, we used to call that the 10-80-10 principle. The first 10% of working with AI is you being clear on what you want, just typing that in there, right? Again, going back to that marketing example, I want a marketing strategy as compared to I want a marketing strategy with all that context I share.
Yeah.
The next 80% of working with AI, that's you hitting the enter button. Most of the work is done, right? But the final 10% is not copy and paste. The final 10% is what he called her, human enhanced response. I'm going to review before I mean, if it's for creative stuff, maybe not so much. But if it's for something that I'm creating a deliverable for a client, I'm going to review it. I'm not just going to take the AI's word for it. So if you can remember that 10-80-10, you're involved in the beginning and you're involved in the end, that will mitigate the bulk of the hallucinations or the concerns about maybe AI making stuff up.
That leads us to the next question. You've been emphasizing on the importance of AI and speed over hesitation. But how
Yes.
can leaders balance moving fast with avoiding costly mistakes in AI adoption?
Yeah, great question. I don't know that they have a choice. The tempo, the pace of business is accelerating because of the introduction of AI. And I want to give you kind of a scenario that I've spent a lot of time thinking about, because we work with a lot of clients. Some are cautious. Well, let's see what happens. Some were early to adopt it. The ones that were early, this interesting exponential event occurred in their business. They created more bandwidth for their employees, even on the basic level. Maybe it was writing an email, maybe it was reviewing a document, getting a summary, but they created more bandwidth. And rather than saying, okay, Mr. or Mrs. Employee, go take a longer lunch break, they used that time to learn more about AI, which further gave them more bandwidth to learn about more AI, until the point to where, so now that company, let's say they had 10 employees and they can now produce at the equivalent of 15. Their costs didn't increase, right? Because they now have the AI supported bandwidth. Now, the company that waited, but I want you to think about this, with 15 employees, all things being equal between my team and another team of 10, which was our baseline measurement, I'm now able to have a fatter pipe at the front end, let's say, for inbound leads or deal sourcing or sales conversations or anything like that. So now I've increased I'm punching above my weight, as they say, right? The company, so I'm gaining more market share. The company that waited, let's say after they watch us for 6 months and they go, okay, now let's do it. They won't be able to catch up, right? They will not be able to catch up because I've now gotten more market share and it's become a cultural thing in my business. It's no longer, the learning curve has been handled. And as a result of not only learning about AI, maybe I've got somebody on my team that says, hey, boss, I want to build some automations. So now I'm gaining more bandwidth, but that's agentic or AI powered, right? The company that's saying, okay, now let's get off the bench. Now let's do something. They are at a lower strata of business viability than my company is now because they delayed. So is it scary? Sure, no question. Is it risky? Some. Is it an option? No. You will not be able to compete unless you do something boutique. Maybe you're a hairdresser. Maybe you carve furniture. Sure, those are outliers. Those are fringe cases, right? But as far as knowledge work goes, if you hesitate or delay much longer, if you aren't aggressively pursuing an upskilling environment for your team through governance and training and all those safety guardrails that you as a human can introduce, um, you're in a different category than your competition now. You are now a subcategory of that industry.
I can see that happening. I mean, what we talk about is trying to get entrepreneurs, right? You want to inspire these innovative people, and if you give them that freedom, they will do all of the innovation for you. But now, if you've been waiting, now you're going to have to pay a consultant to come in and do that for you.
Now, what do you think would be the quick wins that a mid-market firm would achieve when they adopt AI with your frameworks?
Sure. So it's very simple. What we typically do with a company or advise companies to do is first get the leadership team, have them all go through the same training, right? That way, in the boardroom, in the decision making environments, we're all at the same level, right? So nobody is no department head is being left out of that conversation. Once the executive team understands it, then they should really look at their existing business strategy and say, okay, now that we understand the capabilities of it, how do we introduce this into our existing strategy to accelerate the results cycle, let's say? Yeah, go ahead, Stephen.
There might be an argument to say, let's build a committee under the IT team and let the IT team figure it out first. I've
I
seen that
don't
happen.
think that's a good idea. Yeah, and I'll tell you why.
Yep.
At least the way we approach it. So we see AI, there's kind of two branches. There's analytical AI, which would be more like the data science side of things. And that's been established. If you want to go hire a PhD from MIT, there's plenty of them out there that know this stuff. But what we're focused on is what we call operational or applied AI, which is the introduction of generative AI, natural language interaction with AI, into my day-to-day, your day-to-day workflows, right? Nothing fancy, no big learning curves, no huge costs associated. IT doesn't understand process. They don't understand operations. So companies that are looking at the introduction on the data science side, certainly, if you want to create your own LLM and you've got large pools of data that you want to extract business intelligence from, please send that to the IT department because nobody else is interested in that and in doing that, right? But if you want to have an impact on your business, on your operations, on your day to day, on employee capabilities, that's not the IT team. So it seems on the surface, it would be logical. Oh, AI is a technology. We have a technology lead. Let's let them lead that. But a few things will happen. The IT team is going to be very cautious and slow about the evaluation of risk. There's not a lot if you do the next step. So we talked about educating the executive team. The next step is now let's establish an AI use policy. What do we feel is a safe way for our team to use AI? And then let's train them on the tools we want them to use through the lens of that use policy. At the end of that training, the employee signs off and says, yes, I've learned how to use it and I've learned how to use it safely. If I use it outside of this use policy, I'm subject to reprimand or termination or whatever, right? So they know that there's consequences for going rogue on using AI in their role. Now, at that point, we've established, as much as we can, safety guidelines on usage. So where IT needs to evaluate a lot more technical risk, as an operator of a business, I just needed to make sure that my people understand, hey, if you put our financials into the free model of DeepSeek, it's ending up training the model in China, right?
Yeah.
Oh, I didn't know that. Well, now you do, so don't do it, right? So it's different. Again, analytical AI, send it to the tech team. Operational or applied AI, let's keep it with the people who are actually going to be working with the clients or working with our, our internal information.
And
Once
also,
you've done that,
you also
yeah,
mentioned governance, so it needs to be a top management issue, right? You cannot just
no.
delegate this down to the person who might be interested. This has to be at the very top end of the company, and they're keeping them awake at night, right?
One of the stats that we used to share in one of our trainings was that it was a high number. It was maybe in the surveys that were done, 74% of executives were concerned about AI, like their likelihood of keeping their role if they didn't learn AI. So I used to tell people, look, if your boss is worried about this for his own role, shouldn't you be too? Right? Like they're paying attention to a little like a further horizon of the business than you are. And if they're seeing something that's got them concerned to the point to where they're thinking, hey, I need to learn this at any level of business for your own economic viability, for your own likelihood of keeping your job, you should learn this stuff. And if you don't know where to go learn it, I wouldn't say like TikTok is not the spot, maybe for a couple of tactics, but you really want to think about this. And it's something that we call thinking in AI. You want to get to the point to where there's no business activity that you're doing. Maybe you don't use AI, but at least you consider before you do it. You say, oh, could AI help me? Like if you're not thinking that way, you're getting behind.
I have to pick you up because you mentioned TikTok, and TikTok inspired my research study, because the research study I did was said, look, there's all these TikTok influencers out there. Every single second you would scroll, you would AI, forget doom scrolling,
Yeah,
it was AI scrolling, 10 this, 10 that, and the other.
yeah.
Now that there is so much free stuff on TikTok, as a corporate consultant aiming at the mid market, and mid market, they don't have the deepest pockets. How do you present yourselves? What is it that you've got which says, look, I am not a TikTok influencer, I am the real deal? What is it that you have as a solid substance that your clients are going to take?
So we were, I'll put it in air quotes for those listening. We were early, and what I mean by that is we started really our exploration of this in early 2023, um, and we brought with it 25 years of business experience in private equity and technology and finance and all those things. So I'm not somebody who's trying to get followers.
Yeah.
Right? I'm somebody who's interested not in necessarily the sensational, because the reality is AI is not some event that happens to your business. It's a boring process. And you start with, hey, how do you reply to those emails? How do you answer a customer support ticket? How do you run a financial analysis report? That stuff's not sexy. It's not going to be interesting on TikTok or Instagram. But for real businesses, that's like a business is made up of 1,000 small processes, thousands of small processes. And that's where AI is a process. It's not an event. You introduce it here, you get a little bit of bandwidth here. Then you introduce it here and here and here and here. It's this, it's like the marathon versus the sprint, right? So, and I think a lot of what you'll find on social media is these kind of like, they're interesting, but we called it candy, right? It's fun, but it's not very fulfilling for a business. But it's cool to watch somebody make an image or a song. But most businesses aren't monetizing those images or songs. They're monetizing the knowledge work. So I don't know that you're going to find a ton of that type of training. And then also consider your source. I mean, we started our podcast called Using AI at Work and at the beginning of 2024. One of the top 5% podcasts in the world now. So like I've had a lot of, and as I mentioned earlier, repetition is the mother of skill.
You have
I've had a
so many
lot of reps.
operations. You have so many episodes of that, and it's fantastic how that AI in and how many different iterations and that
Yep.
you've already generated, which is
Yep.
amazing, and it keeps going.
So those were great questions for sure. Um, and and listen, if you want to be an influencer, don't listen to what I'm saying. Go follow successful influencers. I mean, honestly, like success leaves clues, as Tony Robbins says, right? Like model somebody who's doing something that doing well, something that you would like to do well. But if you want to be a good business person, TikTok's probably not going to be the main source. There might be some nuggets you get here and there, but if you're a business person, I would say uh, TikTok, Instagram, even to some degree, most of YouTube is built on the sensational, the eye candy, the engagement, much more so than it is on watching paint dry, which is essentially what it is to introduce AI into processes. It's not, there's nothing exciting about it. It's just business.
We've gone from the frontiers to the home
Yeah.
decorating of Walmart in about 25 minutes. That's
Yeah.
brilliant.
For our final question, what advice would you have to give to executives who fear that they don't have the technical knowledge that would lead to AI adoption in their companies or within their teams?
Yeah, that's a great question. And it's the same answer that I give every time I'm asked this, which is regularly like, what do I do? Start using it, right? And well, where do I use it? Guess what? You can ask AI, hey, I'm a finance professional. Hey, I'm an HR professional. How can I use you? Right? Like we've got 20 years or 20 plus years of all of us being conditioned to, if we want an answer, where do you go? You Google it, right? So most of us are taking that skill of learning how to like Google something, and that's where you're starting. People maybe have tried ChatGPT like and using it like they use Google, and I hear people say, "Oh, I tried it, it didn't work." Right? Well, you tried to use ChatGPT as Google, right? So what I would suggest is the more that you start using it, the repetitions that you get with asking it questions. Well, can you do this? Hey, how would I do this? What do you think about this? The more you start learning about it and you start to create the same reflex that you did before, instead of calling up the 411 or whatever it was that you did to find information before Google, you just start creating a new reflex. Is that like, oh my gosh, I've got this business problem, what am I going to do? Oh, let me see if ChatGPT can help. And the more you do it, the more you become what Ethan Mollick, a Wharton professor, calls, you become a cyborg.
Yeah.
You have this, it's always running in the back of your mind. Can I use AI to do this better, faster, higher quality, whatever it is, right? Doesn't mean you have to use AI, but it also means that is a default reaction for you as you encounter a challenge that comes up in the business or you've got a task to do. You at least say, how can I use AI for this? And if you don't know how, you ask AI, hey, I need to review a contract. I need to do this. Can you help me? How can you help me? Right? Like that's all it is. So anybody listening who's a little intimidated by this, or I hear executives, oh yeah, we're using AI all the time. Well, what do? We write emails and summarize documents. There's a lot more to it than that. So you need to really just always put a sticky note on your computer that says, can I use AI for this? Just like create that new reflex.
That's a really, really fantastic answer and a series of answers in this whole conversation.
Once again, Chris, this podcast will be posted on The Incongruent. It will be posted on all streaming platforms. And thanks so much for taking out your time. Stay tuned and follow us for more podcasts on AI, where we speak to wonderful people like Chris and learn more about AI.